What's up, guys? Back at working on the R3 again. Today I'm going to try to get the ignition switch out of the bike drill style. So when these ignitions are put into the bikes, they use these security bolts. Once they're torqued down, the heads round off. Got to get those drilled out. Drilling them out is the best way I've seen to do it, from what I've read and talked to people online that have done it as well. The other option would be to just replace the entire triple tree clamp, which is also an option. So I'm not really all that concerned if I screw this up. So if it gets screwed up, it gets screwed up, and I'll just replace the whole thing. First, it's a little hard to see, but right here is where those bolts go. Right there. There's another one on the other side, and you can see they just completely destroyed. It might be hard for y'all to see, but it just completely destroyed the ignition system. So as you can see, I've got the gauge cluster mount, gauge cluster pulled off the bike. We're going to go ahead and keep that off until we can get this taken out. But this is where we're at today. I'm going to be trying to drill it out, since that seems to be the easiest way I found. I don't have an easy out kit, so that may make it a little bit more difficult. But like I said, if I screw this up, it's not that big of a deal. I'll just replace the whole triple tree clamp. I'm going to start with a smaller bit, so I can get a small hole going, and in the hopes that I will be able to start small, move to a bigger, so I don't cause too much damage. Looks like it's doing pretty well. What I'm going to do now is get a slightly larger bit. See if this makes a difference. Alright, here we go. We'll try to pull this out, twist it. What I've got here in the shop, it's not really what I need. Let's see if I have anything in here that'll do the trick. These might do her. Let's take a look here, see if I can grab onto something. Nope. Nope. It's in there. Trying to break the head off of this bolt, so we just don't even have to deal with that part anymore. And that seems to be a major challenge right now. Chisel in here. Chisel away at this thing. Surely we have a chisel. I need a tiny chisel. This bolt here. See if we can get it to break free. If we can, awesome. If not, well then we'll go to plan B.
Twenty minutes later.
I don't think that's going to work. I can't get the bolts out. All I've been doing is just chewing it up. I think I'm just going to pull the triple tree clamp off and just buy an ignition with it already bolted up. That way I get to retain the security bolts, and I don't have to fight with this because I can't even get one of them out. I really don't have the tools for something like that. But it's okay. I'll just remove the triple tree clamp and we'll go from there. So let's get started on that. I wish I could say I knew how to do this, but I'd be lying. Not that one.
That hole's not as big as I thought it was, Bobby.
There she goes. Alright, breaking the Loctite on that. We'll loosen that up. Working on removing the clip-ons. Awesome. That just comes off. We'll set that off to the side. This may not be as bad as I thought it was going to be. Here's to hoping. So I got the one clip on off. Wasn't as bad, just a bolt here and a bolt here, and it just slides right off. Super simple. I did not think it was going to be that easy. That makes me happy. So the next part is going to be removing the other side, and I'm just letting these parts dangle. I mean, it's really not going to hurt anything. So this is the same thing. We've got a bolt here and a bolt here. Both of those are going to have to come out. There's another bolt on this side. I haven't taken this out. First, we're just going to remove the controls first. I'm going to start with this bolt right here on the side. So turn. Alright, start to give, and we're good. Alright. Out it comes. One thing's for sure, I will know this bike inside and out. It's probably a good idea whenever I take these bolts out, just go ahead and just slip them back in so I don't lose them. I'm not very good at organizing this. I don't really have the things I need to organize this properly. So that is what it is. The two tiny bolts, I couldn't get, they screw into the actual triple tree, so I'm just going to put those back in lightly, so that way I don't lose track of them. Okay, so put that's off. Peel. Little cap that goes over these smaller bolts, kind of looks like that. You just pull those off, should come right off. I mean, honestly, for the most part, if you're somewhat handy, I mean, I work on computers. I don't consider myself typically handy or mechanical. This bike is very logically built. There we go. Very logically built. So most of the stuff just makes sense when you really look at it. So I don't think it's going to be an overly terrible removal process. Now, dealing with all these damn wires might be a little difficult, but hey, it's life. Alright. You know, since I got these off, I may want to think about adding some clip-ons. I mean, clip-ons are a cheap mod. They don't cost a ton. Ease up on this. That's just going to kind of sit off to the side. I'm personally going to clear these two sets of wires right here. That way I can kind of get a little bit more room to kind of move it over. Stick this bolt back here. Back in there. Now we're going to go ahead and put the tension bolt for the control back end so we don't lose it. Not tightening it down, just throwing it in there hand tight, just so I can keep up with everything. Got these bolts right here, top of the triple tree clamp. Those are going to have to come off. There's just a tensioner bolt. Theoretically, from what I'm seeing, this will probably just slide right out. I'm hoping this whole thing is just going to slide out once I release these tensioner bolts. And if that's the case, awesome. If not, well, we'll just cross that bridge when we get there. And honestly, these come out pretty easy. Nothing too major. Round and round and round we go. That sure is a big bolt you got there. Oh, come off. I can't get this bolt off. There we go. That bolt did not want to come off of there. Alright, we got the next one. Go ahead and break it loose. Alright, it's loose. Loosey goosey. Loosey goosey. Da 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 da. And of course this one's doing the same thing. Not wanting to come off, so we're gonna have to manhandle it. There we go. And that one's off. Alright, theoretically, this whole assembly may just lift up. Well, it looks like this socket here is going to have to come off. Thankfully, I've got a rather large crescent. I got one of these. Crescent wrench. I can't talk them. I can't pronounce words. Alright. So, this is probably going to give me a little trouble, so I'm just going to give it a little tappy. Catastrophe averted! What I'm trying to do is get this nut off. And it is not wanting to budge. America! Yeah, I ripped that off of the combat veteran. It's coming. Man, that was on there. But it did come loose. So, that's a hell of a bolt. Alright, so now that that's clear, the only thing I got to worry about when I pull this off is all of the electrical wires that are kind of interwoven into it. So I just want to make sure I don't damage anything as it comes off. Coming. Alright, we have success. Alright. Actually, it looks like I've got a small Allen key here where I can remove the wire harness. There's a metal bracket here that you feed your wires through. Right here, there's this metal bracket here you can feed your wires through. I think I just popped that off. It'll come right out. But overall, that was not bad at all. I didn't have to deal with the forks any. It just came right off. So I wish I had done this to begin with to make this a lot easier to get out. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this piece here. You guys can kind of see a little bit better what I was talking about. See, there's the bolt as it is, the rounded head. It's a security bolt. That one was there after me tinkering with it, trying to get it out. And I might still be able to salvage that. I may be able to still salvage the triple tree clamp. But if I can't, it's not a big deal. I can just order another one. So just a quick overview, kind of review where we're at on it, is last time we were in the shop, got the wiring harness out, got a lot of the residue from the fire extinguisher cleaned off. We got the front end completely pulled off, all the way down to the gauge cluster. I've got the gauge cluster pulled off. The gauge cluster mount, along with the which also acts as the mount for the headlights. Gonna try to salvage the headlights. I don't really know how well that's gonna work. I found the piece where you screw the bolt into it that attaches to the frame that had broken off on one of them. It was salvageable. The other side, not so much. So I'll have 3 out of the 4 bolts. I may try it, see how it works. It may be sufficient for right now, just so I can get it back to riding condition. But eventually I want to fix it. I want to replace it because I don't like that. I prefer to have my bike at 100%. But, you know, that's what we're working with. So we also got all of the electrical put back together. Got all of our battery cables and everything put back in. I may go back and do some rewiring on this. Some of this stuff needs to be wrapped around different routing for the power cables, but it'll be sufficient for right now, I think. Because, like I said, my main goal is just getting the bike started. All the fuel injectors are hooked back up. The airbox has been put back into place. I just haven't tightened down the bolt check, so I want to make sure I've got the connectors far enough down on the throttle body. Today we worked on getting the triple tree clamp off after failing to get the ignition out of the triple tree clamp. Super basic. It's like 4 bolts, 4 or 5 bolts. As you see here, you've got the bolt here, the tensioner bolt. You've got another tensioner bolt on this side, as well as the 2 bolts for the controls, and then the center bolt that actually mounts up here, which was a blast, by the way. I had to use a massive crescent wrench on that. But overall, I think we're doing okay. I'm going to take this back and try to get the ignition out. If I can get the ignition out, great. If not, like I said, I'm just going to replace the entire triple tree, and we'll be good to go. So I think that's where we're going to cut it off for today. Didn't have a lot of time to work on the bike. Again, we're still waiting on parts to arrive, getting money to order new parts. So that's what we're waiting on. So until next week.